listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.
Okay, here we are. It's hot in Southern California. It's August 29th, the end of the summer, believe it or not. Kids are going back to school here. And it's good to be back on the air again. We got a great crowd in from Australia, even though he lives in Santa Monica, in from Chicago, who's going to be going back and forth. Gene lives here in general, and Oriana lives here anyhow. But our guests, co-hosts, Oriana Kitt, Tim O'Connor, Gene Sheynis, Sam Sparks. Welcome, everybody. Let's get started. This is Movie Reviews and More. I got to say hi to Denver, hi to Denmark, hi to UK, hi to Germany, because if I don't say hi, I hear it from these people. So I have to always say hi to the people outside the U.S.
Hello, guys. Hi, guys.
Let's jump into this. We got Elyptol in the house, and we got Zoriana here. We have Gene here. We have Sam from Chicago. Sam, let's start with you. Sure. Welcome to Chicago, here to L.A.
For sure. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
I've been trying to get in here for a long time because this man is always busy, not only doing stuff with Steve Harvey, but you got a great documentary. You opened August 9th or August 8th here in Beauty Salon in Chicago.
Yes.
And you're working on a 24-hour daycare center. Talk about Chicago. Talk about where you came from.
Well, appreciate you for having me, man. I know it's been a tussle with me getting here, but I've been working, which that is a blessing. You always been busy, mean you're working. So I appreciate that. But, you know, we here in Chicago, I left Chicago, had the opportunity to start styling Steve Harvey within 5 years ago. And from there, I started a brand called Legacy Living, which Legacy Living teaches. It's a platform brand where it teaches entrepreneurship, getting in your gift, knowing who you are, structuring your life. I'm a guy that came up in the streets, 28, no high school diploma, no college degree. I just finished up a book, which will be soon forward by Steve Harvey, and just came out with a documentary.
Which is pretty good.
Appreciate it. Hopefully be picked up by Netflix, picked up by Netflix. I'm in a conversation right now with them.
What's it about?
Well, the documentary is more so just you getting in your gift. I lost my baby sister approximately 2 years ago, and that's why I started my brand. She died from a rare kidney disease called nephrotic syndrome, where she lost her kidneys at the age of 8, and then she was able to get her kidneys back, where she was blessed to have them back at like 16, but ended up losing them again because her body fought off the kidney, not being aware, you know, that kidney is there to help her, and her body has went so long without a kidney, so the body killed off the kidney, and she ended up passing away at the age of 21. We buried her and had an awesome celebration, which at that time I was styling Steve Harvey, but I didn't know the opportunity that I lived in. And what's funny, God took me into a place where I had the opportunity to become an undertaker, and I worked in a funeral home for 2 years. And then from there, I went to start styling Steve Harvey. What ended up happening, I didn't know that working in that funeral home would prepare me to prepare my baby sister to her last day. And going through the process of embalming my baby sister.
You literally did that?
No, I literally did everything.
Did you have the option to not to? Because I don't know if or did you really want to? Because I don't know if I'd be able to
honestly
go through that.
Knowing the process of going through the process of that and doing that with other family members, it would be only right that I thought I should have done it, because I know what goes on behind scenes. And then too, I just wanted it to be all correct. I wanted to lay her to rest, and I think I needed that to be what gave me my wings and give me the ability to move forward, because putting her in the casket and just that moment and getting my mother prepared for that moment of celebration, because I wanted my mom to be happy. I didn't want it to be a sad point for my mother. My baby sis, you would never see a frown on her face, and she took 48 medications a day.
Wow.
A day. She got up every morning and took 48 medications. And I'll tell you a small story. Let me tell you this. My baby sister was able to get her kidney at 16, and I was able to see her do 3 things that changed me drastically. One was she was able to urinate for the first time, and she smiled from ear to ear. 2, she was able to have a menstrual. She smiled ear from ear. And the 3rd was she started to see growth in her boobs, in her breasts, and she smiled from ear to ear. What lost me was we take those small things for granted. We get up and urinate without even thinking. We actually fight and do so much stuff, and this little girl is taking the smallest things in her life and deciding those to be what's great, which is what life is truly about. The smallest things add up to the biggest things. And that's just like planting a seed. You have to plant the seed and water it so it to grow to that big old tree. And that small thing right there was what made Legacy Living become its big old brand today, and it's growing today. So on August 9th, I was able to, which is her birthday, I was able to do the grand opening on her birthday of the barbershop, which is the Legacy Living Barbershop.
You had about 2,500 people there, right?
We had 2,500 people. We gave out 1,500 book bags. We cut about 1,500 kids, free haircuts. We had horses. We had painters. We had, I mean, any and everything that you. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome, man. It was pretty awesome. But, you know, that today, that little girl is my everything. Sorry to start off with that.
No, she lives on.
She's, oh, no, I don't speak in past tense. I believe that she really, her life is my life, you know, and she saved so many, because even she wasn't a celebrity or anything of that nature, but because how that little girl lived her life, we had 4,000 people at her funeral.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And big ups to Steve Harvey, because I was 22,000 in the hole and he came through for me in 15 minutes. Shout out to my big dog.
Wow.
Shout out to my big dog.
Here's
seriously.
what people don't know. I would be calling him and he would be telling me what he's going through occasionally, but he was always happy. And I never got a chance to meet his sister, but I remember him telling me about it, because we went back to 2015 when I interviewed him at the Hollywood Film Festival. He was my last interview. He came in looking stylish. I'm like, man, I look really crappy compared to him. But I'm like, I gotta, and he told us great stories of him growing up on the streets of Chicago and all the stuff that he used to do.
Yeah.
Do you tell some of those stories?
Oh, yeah. I don't run from my past.
Tell what you were doing before you went on to Steve's show.
Oh, man. I was a hothead. I was extremely a hothead. You know, 4 kids by 4 different women.
You had 4 kids?
I have 4 kids by 4 different women. 3 boys and 1 gorgeous young lady. She's my queen. You know, sold drugs. You know, no high school diploma, no college degree. Didn't even think about school being what it was, but style and the appearance of me kept me away from so much. And that's what really got me to picked up with Steve Harvey. He seen the way that I dressed, and he opened the door for mentorship, because he said, yo, you get it, you just need some polishing. And ever since then, my life has changed, where, you know, I put down the guns. I now have a mentoring program called Legacy Living, where we styling young boys and getting young guys in order, taking kids through transitional homes. We're buying up the neighborhoods, where I'm taking abandoned buildings inside of the neighborhoods, and we're changing them up to making them libraries and technology centers and peace houses. And I'm really planning to do a peace campus right now, where we taking out like 14 homes. There's neighborhoods in Chicago where it's like 14, 15 abandoned homes, but this is where our children is living, the poverty, and we're just taking these homes and we're buying them up. And instead of them transitioning back into homes, we're transitioning them to peace campuses, where, you know, one prime example, the Peace House is where they take their clothes. If they need their clothes washed, we got clothes. And if they need new school clothes, we already have the school clothes there. If they haven't ate, we have, you know, food there. They can come do their homework, because sometimes the homes are so stressful and so deranged and torn apart to where you can't even be focused enough to even get the things that's done on your task. So we're trying to create that atmosphere. And I come from that atmosphere. That was my household, you know, where I just met my pops 3 years ago. You know, I just met my dad 3 years ago. That's in a documentary too. You seen that? Which that has been the mirror of me. And it's awesome that I met him now, than I met him before, because I think I'm ready now, because I didn't ask the why questions on why this happened, why that happened. I think time has took enough time for us to be separated, and we should just be where we at today. And that's why the brand is where it at and where I come from.
Is this true or false? Is it true that you would come in and you could separate the gangs and they would listen to you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I was a gangbanger. Okay, so in Chicago, I was a GD, Gangster Disciple. BDs, which is Blackstone Disciples, or Vice Lords, or Four Corner Hustlers, you couldn't come together. It was separated. But because the way I was dressed and because the way that, you know, I handle myself, I can pull these guys together and we can talk about money.
Did you ever kill anyone?
No. I was in several places where I had to shoot a gun before, but never in the token where I had to kill someone. By the grace, please, thank you. But, you know, I've been in some places where I was almost killed. You know, guns been to my head and to my throat, and, you know, I've been stripped butt ball naked, you know.
So was your transition gradual, or was it like, boom, and a specific incident happened and never again, no turning back?
No. See, and I'm glad you asked that, because this is what life is today that messes with people. We forget about the process. Everything is a process. It was several things happening and taking place to where it started to water the seed of change. And then I had to make the sense of when I made the decision, today will be that change. You get what I'm saying? But it was several things that was giving me pre-warnings.
I'm sure your sister's death was one of them, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, but at that time, I was, in that cycle of wanting to change, but didn't know how to take that place. Now, my sister's death had absolutely gave me that courage, because at that time, I was even telling myself I was going to kill myself, because I lost a certain person that was my everyday. I was her protector. You know what I'm saying? I was there. It's 8 of us. It's 8 of us. I'm the second oldest. I'm the oldest boy. So I was the man of the household. I was mama's boyfriend. I was the household leader. I was papa. They brought the grades to me. You know, if nobody wasn't eating, we wasn't eating because I didn't get it done. You know, we had a guy inside the home, my stepfather, but he wasn't a father. You know, he was a stature there, you know, and in that stature, he just created that father was there, but it wasn't no input or no impact as far as...
He wasn't a father figure.
Yeah, not even a father figure. That's why I wouldn't even say that word.
Yeah.
You know, I just said he's just a stature. He was not even that figure. I mean, because even at the token, my little brothers and sisters, me and my older sister is not his biological, but everybody else is his. And, you know, he even left them to be going into the wolves. So I had to be the one to be that one to pull. But again, I was a young boy in big boy shoes.
I noticed that you wear a cross around your neck with Jesus on there. How does your faith play into your life today?
Well, excuse me.
Sorry, I don't mean to just make you talk.
No. I'm okay. One of the things about faith, I believe in God. I'm not into religion. No disrespect to no one. I'm not Baptist or Catholic or anything. I believe that, you know, at the time of my baby sister, when she passed away, I was at a place where I told her and God, hey, listen, I'm torn up. And at this point, I know if you are real and you sitting at the right hand of God, you got to get me right. Because that hours after my baby sis was done and they said she was dead, I went to the water with a gun. I could feel it. Put chills down my back right now. And I told God, if you guys are real, y'all got to get me there. And from there, I separated myself from religion, because I was born into religion where you got to go to church, you got to do this, you got to do that, and you got to be this way. And that's what I always knew. And from there, it kept me on a certain path of just, I have to do this instead of being in a real relationship with God. So I believe I'm in a relationship. That's who I called upon. That's who gave me that energy. That's who brought me back. That's who protected me at that moment. And this is 2 years ago when I knew I was dead, because I claimed I was dead that day.
Has she visited you?
Oh, awesomely, many of times.
Yeah.
Just probably
So
right
she gives you
before.
the strength?
Man, I give you something. It's dope that you said that. Right before the grand opening, I had a dream, and it was the day before it, a couple of hours, and I was so nervous, and I went to sleep, and I was walking into a door, and my baby sister was sitting right on this stool, and I'm like, Shara, and she like, yeah, and I'm like, you okay? And she like, yeah, boy, go get my phone. And I walked out the room, and I woke up. I was in tears, but I was happy. I was so happy. And after that grand open was crazy.
That's because she took that phone and called everyone.
Listen, I don't know what she did, but she told me to go get her phone. I asked her, was she okay? And she said, yeah, go get my phone. And I went to go get my phone when I get her phone, and I woke up.
Yeah.
Gene, I'm glad that you're here. You grew up tough too, didn't you?
Come on.
Come on, Gene.
Talk about where you came from to where you are now with Celebrity Connected.
Well, I mean, I come from Ukraine. First 15 years of my life I spent in former Soviet Union.
Where in Ukraine?
Kiev.
That's where my mom's family is. My dad is from Lviv.
Small world. So, yeah, we grew up with pretty standard lifestyle. You fight 3-4 times a week minimum.
And drink lots of vodka.
You're physically prepared for army. By the time you're done, you don't really need to take any martial arts classes.
Yeah.
I mean, it taught us how to survive and the basics of respect, holding your word, and honoring other people. And then we immigrated into the United States. It was my parents, my grandparents, and my younger brother. And I think we got here on May 11th, 1989. Landed in Los Angeles with $800 between 6 of us. And here we go. No language skills. And I think a couple of years later, I bought my first property.
Wow.
Yeah, I was almost 18 years old. I never had a chance to finish school, which I'll try my kids not to repeat that. Give them something to fall back on, just in case, except
you never know.
Skills. Listen, it worked. And I've been involved with sales, marketing, creating opportunities, and making things happen ever since. Spent a number of years with import-export, got into automotive industry, spent some time working for other people, and quickly
Figured out how to maneuver things.
figured out that working for someone else makes someone else more money. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're born with ability to excel, sky is the limit. And created consulting company that traveled all over United States, helping dealers new car dealerships that were down get their traction back. And eventually, one of the people that was part of the team got me into this celebrity marketing concept. Because to us, it's the same. I mean, one of his sons was involved with that for quite a while, but he never scaled it to a certain height. I mean, lack of internet presence nowadays that won't take you far. Creating and delivering things that you promise to your clients is a #1 priority, and we've been pretty fortunate. So for the past 7 years, I became part of a business that I treat in a way as my own Shark Tank. Besides, it gives me opportunity to get into other ventures and help companies grow and create opportunities and place new products into specific environments
And you're talking about Celebrity Connected.
Yes, and at the same time, offering immense amount of tools for startups as well as seasoned companies to raise awareness, create spotlight, and
What's
drive
one
traffic.
product that you're super proud of because of the trajectory that you gave it? Like
Good
it
question.
started here and then it up here and
Elyptol.
Yeah.
Well, Tim is one of the people that we've engaged with in the past, but we had numbers of products. One of the products that I became a part of and we're doing pretty well with, it's called New Health Fruit.
Yes, I love that.
It's little fruit cups that are natural, have no additives, no preservatives, yet have 2-year shelf life. Don't need to be refrigerated. BPA free, kosher, you name it. I mean, it's stamped by everything. And the biggest thing that I'm kind of excited about, we're changing what kids are consuming in schools. We were able to get it into unified school districts nationwide. And now it's part of the lunch program. So, you know, kids are consuming right nutrients. It doesn't spoil, doesn't live messy kitchens. Everybody's happy, and it took us a couple years, but you know, we're all over major distributors, moving forward quite fast.
How does it stay on a shelf like that for so long?
It's got this process, which so-called hot pasteurization. It's kind of something that our grandparents used a few hundred years ago.
Back in Ukraine.
Well, there and everywhere else, there was really no other way to preserve. You hit up the what do you call the container, whatever you're gonna use, and basically when it shrinks, it pushes the air out. And there's a few other things that are involved in the process, but in the end, there's no preservatives, no additives, and it gives you that shelf life without having to refrigerate it. You can go from hot to cold and back, and it's still fresh and
Wow.
tastes wonderful.
Oh.
So that would be, I think,
That's dope.
one of the ones that was
Yeah.
unique, and we're going into completely different market with it. I initially placed it, I think, at about 100 CVS stores throughout the West Coast, 7-Elevens. It was wonderful, but now that kids consume about 1,500 units over one lunch in one school, makes it really exciting.
Yeah.
And we avoided all competition altogether.
Now,
Yeah,
do you
exactly.
find that celebrity attachments to products matter a lot today, or not so much?
Well, obviously, you know that it does make an impact if utilized correctly. It's really comes down to human nature. Somehow we, as humans, idolize other people who are more successful or have certain experiences. Going back to Babe Ruth, you know, orange soda, or who knows, back when the gladiators were around, somebody wanted a bigger sword, or whatever the fact of the matter is. People appreciate successful people and what they, and their opinions. And nowadays, as the social media kicked in, you know, you know, in our world, somebody, you don't have to be a movie star to be a celebrity. If you have something tangible, if you got cool idea, or you do good things and you have a vast amount of following, in my book, you're an A-list. I mean, because you will engage with companies, you will do things. It's about raising awareness, identifying products and brands, and creating a spotlight over something new and exciting. I mean, whether it's somebody who came up with a piece of plastic that keeps your shoelaces from being untied, or some kind of a breakthrough in technology.
Is there a celebrity that you can point to that said changed the face of a product that you were promoting because they fell in love with it, or they're photographed with it and it just took off?
You know, it happens every time. And it happens more so nowadays than ever before, because you know, you're going through a process of placing your product in specific environment. It's whether you're driving traffic to your website, or letting people know that at Macy's, at certain department, now you can find this product of yours. And that's what excites distributors, because they have a lot, they have plenty of things cut out for them. So they managed to, it's hard to break through and have a distributor sign you up. But once you're signed up, there's a lot of other things, common denominators that require you to do, and I mean Tim will tell you that in a minute, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So having a backing from somebody who can direct traffic to those locations is so immense, because it makes it that much easier for a distributor to sell your product. So if you're doing a proper job marketing your stuff with diverse group of people, which in our case we usually will introduce you to anywhere between, we guarantee over 100, but we usually bring in anywhere between 120 to 150 VIPs from all over the market we're dealing with, YouTube personalities.
And they're happy to be there. One of the things I like, even with Elyptol, is, well, Tim was there. He was when I last saw him at the Oscar gifting suite. He was one of the last people to leave. One of the other things I liked about him is that all the girls liked his product. And he was very generous about, here, take one of these. I'm like, I'm going to have you on my show one day. And I'm thinking he was like, yeah. But anytime I see someone who's got a great product at Gene's event, I want to help promote their brand, to bring it wider. Because I think Gene and Diana, who's his right woman man, has talked about
my
this.
right hand, vice president of the company.
She finds all these, they find all these great products, all these great vendors. They have all these great celebrities come. It's the energy of the stuff that they have. Is that once that is done, where do you go from there? You've got to go someplace else and keep that momentum going. So now what I do when I have like Qingdao beer, last year at Gene Celebrity Connected at the ESPY Awards, that's where I found them. Now we're in partnership with them. Elyptol, I love this stuff. So do all the girls. You have no idea how many women on the bodybuilding side love this. They take this into the gyms. they only use this, the girls that I know, which is great.
The bag that I have today is from your Celebrity Connected. It's like a vegan leather, and it looks like leather, and it also came with a brown bag too as well. And
Sure.
And I think I kind of took one and put it in another one because I knew I wanted more than
See,
one.
I have to say this. I gotta say this.
You kind of answered your own
None of them
questions.
knew. None of these guys knew who was going to be here, even though I advertised for them being here. Tim got here first. He didn't know Jean was going to be here. I didn't know that she had this until yesterday. I was looking at one of her things that she wrote about. I'm like, I didn't know she was there. And Dean's got so many people coming up to him. So he's not going to remember everybody.
I remember Dean coming up to me because I was on my way out the door, and I was tired, and I wanted to go, and he grabbed me, and he was like, "Wait, don't go."
Yeah, that's right.
And I mean, honestly, if you hadn't stopped me, I would not have stopped.
Yeah.
I was like, I had just reached my limit. I ate all the wonderful food that was there, because you always have the best vendors with the best food. These like cakes in a jar or cupcakes
Sure.
in a jar. And I was done. I had my little bag, I had my food, and I was out the door. And then you stopped me, and then you gave me that stuff. And on so many levels, it's amazing.
And it turns out that he had your information or something
Already
too,
in the
huh?
phone, because I probably gave him my card, because
Yeah.
I'm always giving out my
See,
cards.
this is what kind of we rely on that, going back to that human nature. It's if
Human
you can-
nature of wanting to pig out and take more than one purse.
let's not concentrate on that. That nature also exists, but ultimately it's when if he had this product really, and if he hadn't met you personally, then you have a chance to
Yeah.
Opportunity.
explain what it took to get to this level, and why this product is above competition and makes sense to be used. Chances are not people would not give him as much attention.
Well, also he was really nice about it. He
Exactly.
wasn't. He wasn't
Exactly.
aggressive.
He's Australian,
and
that's
he
why.
wasn't in my face. And he was just like, "No, please stay." He was firm, but gentle. And I was like, all of a sudden, I was like, "Yeah, okay, like, sure, no problem."
Tim,
Yeah.
talk about how this started.
About 4 years ago, Australian Irish Catholic, started up in an Irish Catholic household. Always wanted to do things. I'd started up 3 companies before. Lived in New York at the time. I met a beautiful woman in New York. Ended up going back to Australia to have a child, and I was looking for something to do. So being an entrepreneur, I didn't want to go into a corporate. I wanted to do something myself. Australia is very difficult to raise money. So I ended up speaking with a government friend of mine who was working for innovation, commercialising innovation in Australia, and he said you should go into this company just in northern Victoria, have a look at it. And it was a company that had a formula for wipes, like cleaning sunglasses. Step back a year before, 2 years before, I had my little baby girl, and I always thought hospitals had products that were the best. If it's good enough for the hospital, it's good enough for me. So doing research on this wipe company with this eucalyptus ingredient, I realised doing the research from what the hospitals are using, they were using chemicals. And this was an all-natural ingredient product. Pure eucalyptus oil, 70% ethanol alcohol, but pure alcohol.
Right.
You mix that with water and a couple of other natural products, and you've got one of the strongest hand sanitizers on the market. So I used the formula, I changed the formula down a little bit because it had a lot of eucalyptus oil in it. So I changed it down a little bit. And after a year making a few mistakes, we created the hand sanitizer gel and the hand sanitizer spray that you're looking at right now.
Got it dialed in.
It took a while and took a few mistakes, but and last year when we went to manufacturing for the first time in the US, we got testing against the #1 product in hand sanitizers globally.
Wow.
And we equaled and beat them in efficacy, 99.9999% kill rate.
Congratulations.
It's one of the strongest products in the world.
Congratulations.
Yeah, they got a good formula going.
Going back to your story, Sam, it's sort of startups are tough, as Gene knows, everybody around this room knows. Startups are really tough, and you have to get the strength sometimes. So we had a little baby girl, and then we had a little boy, and he died.
Wow. Wow.
And when we went to his funeral, we had a little funeral for him because he was old enough to have you had to go through the whole legal process in Australia. And his funeral, his
casket?
His casket was the size of a shoebox.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was only my wife. I'm telling this story not for you to feel sorry for. I'm telling this story because it's the strength sometimes you need to get over that hump in doing startups like this.
Yeah.
But there was one song that we played in that funeral service, and it was "Chasing Cars" by Snow Patrol.
Oh, I
Do you know
love
that?
that
Yeah.
song
You know that song?
Yeah.
so much.
Do you know? I kid you not. Do you know how many times I've heard that song when things are down? Over 200 times. Do you know how many times my wife's heard that song? None. 0.
Why? Why do you
He's
think?
reaching out to me all the time.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like that story on the beach when the little boy's talking to God and he's saying, God, when I'm really, really happy, your footsteps are next to me, but when I'm really sad, you're not there.
Yeah.
And God turns around and says, because I'm carrying
Yeah,
you. So,
yeah.
And I sometimes I use that strength. You know, I'm not getting into the distributor, or I get a no on a particular retail, and there's a little bit of strength you need just to get over that. Just to get over that hump.
You gotta keep on pushing.
Awesome.
So it's been
not to cut you off, but my baby sister, her favorite color was green.
right.
Always green. And every time I get to a place where I'm down, I look at a green light. Money is
Something
green.
out
The wall is green. I'm like, yo, you're just all around. So I definitely, truly understand, man.
So
Definitely.
so going back to Elyptol, we made a lot of mistakes, and it's not a sexy product. You know, you can't go to an investor to say, I've got this great idea of having to be able to order taxis on a mobile phone. You go to these investors saying,
Very functional.
do you know that every 36 hours a jumbo jet crashes every day of the number of people dying in hospitals because of cross infections? Which is a true fact. Every 36 hours a jumbo jet crashes, figuratively, on the number of people dying by going into hospitals and getting a hospital-associated infection. In other words, a healthcare worker's not washing their hands properly.
Sure.
Right? If you go to a hospital and watch them wash their hands,
Yeah.
they don't wash their hands. The curtains are full of germs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of things in that hospital area, or just generally, where people don't take.
You don't usually go to
washing
the
hands.
hospital to get better. You usually go to the hospital to get worse.
Well, it's changing, but there's a lot of products in hospitals that have a lot of chemicals in them. And one of the things that I love about this product is it's all natural. So when you put Elyptol on your hands, you made the comment before, the alcohol, there's not a lot of alcohol in it. Well, it's actually got more alcohol than most other hand sanitizers. The World Health Organization recommend up to 69.5% alcohol, right? Most products have 62%. But it's ethanol alcohol or isopropanol, which is a petroleum-based alcohol, laden with chemicals to denature it, so you can't drink it, so you can sell it over the counter. So you have to denature this alcohol. We add eucalyptus oil. So what happens chemically, you put the hand sanitizer on your hands, and it does the kill, 99.9999%. The eucalyptus oil seeps through your skin, so all those layers of your skin, and reach that membrane layer, and if there's irritation or contact dermatitis or some form of skin irritation, the eucalyptus oil triggers the brain to produce ceramide, which is the natural healing agent for the skin. So you've got a product now that's all natural alcohol, kills the germs, and then seeps through your skin with the eucalyptus oil
And enhances the killing
and
process.
enhances the killing process by healing your skin, right?
Wow.
On top of that, when you smell the eucalyptus scent, it's aromatherapy, so it releases dopamines in your brain. That's why you go into saunas and you immediately smell eucalyptus oil. That's the reason it relaxes you. Right? So you've got all these great qualities in a product that other products don't have. And that's why we are where we are now, with the help of Gene and Celebrity Connected, your support, everybody's support. We're getting out there. It's a bit of a struggle because we don't have millions and millions of dollars to throw at this. But we're getting now traction in the marketplace because we're a good product.
Talk about where you are now and give your website for everybody.
Awesome.
It's www.elyptol.com, ELYP for Peter, TOL.com. You can buy the product in America, you can buy the product in Australia, so we launched in Australia. We're launching in one of the largest pharmacy groups in Australia, Chemist Warehouse. And we got all the distributors in the States now, UNFI, Select Nutrition, Kihi. We're trying to get Whole Foods. If anyone out there is listening from Whole Foods, we'd love to get in your stores because everyone loves the product at Whole Foods. But yeah, we're getting a lot of traction now.
Talk about the name. Obviously, Elyptol stems from the eucalyptus, but is Elyptol, is that an actual?
Yeah, so good question. So eucalyptus oil, when you go to the supermarket and you buy eucalyptus oil, you usually buy Eucalyptus globulus. That's the sort of chemical name or the marketing name. That oil has about 30% impurity in it. So what we buy is the eucalyptus oil purified, which is called Eucalyptol. So when we were coming up, what do you name this thing? When I first got the product, I'm thinking, what do I call this? And we went through all these different types of names, and we wrote Eucalyptol on the board and eucalyptus oil, and we said, well, why don't we just call it Elyptol, which is sort of a short form of eucalyptus oil. And the logo, not the people on the radio can see this, but the logo is a round logo that's a leaf dropping a droplet of oil onto a hand.
Oh,
I love that.
So that's the
give your website again.
www.elyptol.com.
Gene, your website for Celebrity Connected.
CelebrityConnected.net.
Sam.
And my website is LegacyLivingBarbershop.com.
What's happening with you?
What's happening with me? There's always a lot happening with me. I work at Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, and we're a nonprofit, and we defend, conserve, and protect the world's oceans. We have 10 ships, I think now 11 ships around the
You're
world.
growing quickly.
I know. We're there to protect marine wildlife, to save species from extinction. And right now, recently there was a big shark fin bust in the Galapagos Island where a Chinese trawler was caught in the protected reserve. Sharks everywhere, and these sharks were bound for China for shark fin soup. And we, Sea Shepherd, we have Sea Shepherd Galapagos, and we have supplied the island with a tracking system where they can detect illegal ship movements that lead to arrests. And we also have a canine unit there that are trained to sniff out wildlife contraband, be they shark fins, dried cucumber eels, even live animals like iguanas and birds that are in the airports. So these dogs work the ports, they work the airports, and they help put criminals away. So we have animals saving animals, which is the ultimate.
Oh, cool.
Wow. Could I ask what got you into that?
Yeah, I have been a journalist all my life.
Oh.
And then when I moved here, I started doing entertainment journalism. And then so I got into that whole world, and then I started traveling and doing travel journalism. And I also worked on camera, which was production. And the more I traveled, the more stories and assignments I sought out that had to do with wildlife. When I went to Panama, I wanted to go visit sloth sanctuaries. When I went to Borneo, I wanted to visit where the orangutans were, where the palm oil plantations were being set up and their homes were being destroyed. I went to the subarctic to walk with the polar bears. I just started to gravitate more in that direction. And when Sea Shepherd relocated their headquarters to Burbank, they were looking for a media director and someone who also knew the background of production. And so
Perfect.
as a journalist, knew production, knew Hollywood, and we have a lot of celebrity supporters, from Martin Sheen, who has a boat named after him. Bob Barker has a boat named after him. We have so many people who support us financially in that regard. And, and being in charge of productions, we're actually developing a reality show on the Galapagos dogs.
That's
wow.
great.
So,
Wow.
so it was sort of, I feel like almost everything that I've done in my life, all those amalgamations just sort of came together in this one particular job that enables me to utilize all my skills to make a difference, which is more important than ever, because we look around and our government's not caring about the environment at all. Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord. He's, he doesn't believe climate change is real, and we see firsthand the effects. We talked earlier about the Great Barrier Reef. There's nothing left of this beautiful place anymore. It is real if you see it, and to have a navy of a dozen or so ships around the world that are out there working. I mean, I'm not as brave as those volunteers who are out there taking on Japanese whalers, who are taking on seal clubbers or turtle poachers. I mean, I work in an office and I oversee a lot of that kind of stuff, but these are men and women who are so brave, who go out there and really put their lives on the line because they care about something and they're driven by passion to make a difference. Because as our founder, Captain Paul Watson, says, if the oceans die, we die.
That's true.
And if we're not out there taking care of it and protecting it, defending it, conserving it, there is no us. There is no celebrity connected event. There is no barbershop. There is no hand sanitizer. There's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
And we have seen those movies and those TV shows and talked to the people.
Whale
who've gone out
Wars,
there.
Whale Wars was on for 8 years, where the whole world saw us, take on the Japanese whalers and defend the whales, because they're majestic creatures who also have a right to live, just like anyone else.
Well, they
Wow.
also have great impact on the environment. I heard, one whale creates a whole ecosystem around.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a balance.
Well,
Is it working?
the
What you're doing, is it working?
Well, absolutely. I mean, listen. Ultimately, the world will let us know if it's working or not, and where it doesn't work, we go and we make a difference. Sharks, for example, 100 million are killed by humans every
Wow.
year, and 73 million of those are bound for shark fin soup. That's an apex predator. People watch Jaws, they get scared. They're like, yeah, kill him, who cares? They scare me. But as an apex predator, they regulate our entire ecosystem. If they're not around, who's going to eat the sick? Who's going to eat the slow? So they keep other species alive and
Everything is
healthy
interconnected.
Right.
by eating the weak and the sick. So they're the regulators of the ocean. If you get rid of them, it'll mess everything up. New species will set in, invasive species will come here, the sick will hang around, damaging the ecosystem. Without sharks, everything gets screwed up, and it is vital that we protect them. Don't fear them. Don't fear them. protect them. They are very shy. They're not interested in you, and they run on electrical energy. I mean, what other fish runs on electric energy? It's incredible. They can feel and see things through this energy that we can't see. It's magical, it's powerful, and it's beautiful. And if people can just let go of that Jaws image that we've all been conditioned to believe in and fear, and just think of the magic that they have and the beauty that they possess and their vital importance to our ocean, I think we would care a lot about saving them, a lot more than we do now.
Wow.
Tim, when you were growing up, what made you want to come to the U.S.? Was it a specific movie that you saw, or a piece of music or something like that brought you here and that has got you traveling all over the world?
Opportunity.
Ah, yep.
The mentality of Americans I find incredible. As far as let's get it done, you can go to anybody in America and say, look, I've got this, it's a silly analogy, but I've got a shoe, I want to bring that to market. One person will say, I've got a person that's in the shoe business, they can give you some advice. Another person will say, I've got a factory guy that can do your shoes. Before you know it, you've built up this whole group of people network that help you. I've lived in London, I've lived in France, I've lived in the south of France, I've lived in Australia, and I've never ever seen a mentality like it.
Wow.
Never ever seen it.
Sam, when you were growing up, what inspired you just to get out of the ghetto with all the stuff that you were doing? Was this something that you saw, or you listening to Michael Jackson or something like that, or what?
Just not having things, seeing things, and not having it. It just give you that amp to have it because it exists and it's tangible. It's just more so being able to have the energy and the ambition and the faith and a goal to get it. It's all within a vision, and it was just more so that real grind of not having something pushed me to have it today.
So, Ariana?
I guess it just depends the stage of your life and what you see at that time. Like when I was 4, I saw The Ugly Duckling, and I really felt for that ugly duckling because we were Ukrainian. It was my first language. At 4, I had just started school where I was learning English, and I felt like the ugly duckling a lot. And I felt a special connection with the ugly duckling because she was different, and I felt different. Later on, when I was 10, I saw Annie, the musical, this spunky orphan, and I was like, damn it, her life is horrible, but look at her, she's always happy. I just admired her so much, and the resolve that she had to find her parents and to search for her identity amidst the fact that she got rescued by some billionaire who was offering her riches and a perfect life, but she still insists, like, for her it was more important to know where she came from, and she rescued a dog on top of that. She was an animal lover, right? And then when I was 12 or 13, Goonies came out, and I mean, seriously, I'm like a Goonie at heart. The sense of adventure, these guys going out there to search for a pirate ship, and they're out there scaling things and going down caves, and, it was just, life was an adventure, and now look at me. I'm like a pirate at Sea Shepherd. Like, it's awesome.
I love her spirit.
Gene, what turned you on to any movies or anything before you came here? What were you seeing when you were growing up?
Growing up, we had 3 channels. At 9 o'clock, everything dies out. You get to hear the news, and it's all same on all 3. They would stretch out Tom and Jerry's 1 cartoon to 10 episodes. But on the other hand, we got to experience outdoors like nothing else. I mean, I was never home. I was on the bicycle. I was into sports. I was into and then parents didn't know where we were. There was no pagers, there was no tracking devices.
Exactly.
We grew up in the environment where there was hierarchy, where we knew, you go around the corner, you get your ass.
Exactly.
So you gotta be careful. You gotta going in. I mean, at 3 years old, I would walk to a supermarket a mile away, and my parents were comfortable with that because the community was supporting and watching over the kids, and it was. To lose respect, people lost respect for you was a big deal.
Yeah.
So everybody tried to,
And you couldn't
comply.
shame your family. That's
No,
the other
that's-
thing.
That's
Like
the biggest thing. Sure.
you represented your family, and you had to. I mean, if you dissed someone or you were rude to someone, your parents were going to hear about it, and you were going to get it.
And absolutely, when we squared off, God forbid you'd say something that you should, just go at it, shake hands, go back to the real life. And it was normal. So coming here, I mean, obviously, I learned this side of the story, and somehow I'm more of a hybrid than anything else. I feel comfortable on both sides. But definitely, picked up a pretty good, pretty good school as I was growing up.
Well, one of the things that, and I'll say it, that Gene doesn't realize is that people come to pay homage to him, and that's fun to see. I think the last person I saw, at the Oscar gifting suite that you had downtown LA at the Biltmore. I'm thinking, I forgot who it was off the top of my head, but it's fun to see them come up and say hi to you. And then there was what was in May? May the gifting suite was music. Wasn't
MTV,
MTV?
I think.
Seeing Randy Jackson come over and say hi, seeing John Small coming over to say hi. That's something because of the energy there. Seeing Tim again, coming back for your second or third time there. What makes you come back to Celebrity Connected?
Again, value. Value and opportunity.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I got something in my throat. But yeah, no, it's a great venue.
See, and that's what I see with a lot of people. I'm starting to see people come back, and I think that is great because what I like about it and what the girls like about it is the energy of stuff. And then you never know what great product is going to be there, and you never know, I think I can help them go even further. That's exciting to me. I mean, I really get off by doing something like that. And then, with you growing up, when you finally went to Steve Harvey's show and he picks you out, that wasn't staged.
No.
Talk about that experience. You didn't know that was going to happen, did you?
No, actually, what's funny is, do you guys believe that dreams are previews of
Yes.
coming attraction?
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So I had a dream about Steve Harvey fixing my suit, and I had it for like 6 years straight. Like 6 years straight was crazy. And then one day, one of my buddies called me and said, "Hey, listen, I just flew out of town. I have some tickets to the show. You should go." By the way that I was dressed, Steve Harvey, they sit me in the front of the seat. Steve Harvey comes out. On the front row, Steve Harvey comes out. He does a segment. Fast forward, it's the break. And a young lady, an older woman, asked him, "Why don't you teach young men how to court women?" So he refers back and says, "Well, why don't you ask a young man if he know how to court women?" Lo and behold, because the way I was dressed, he tells me to stand up. He starts to fix my suit. He's like, "Man, everything lines up on the left-hand side because I have my dart pen on the right-hand side, and I have my pocket square and my watch on the left-hand side." So he tells me to switch it up. Not knowing that this is the dream that's taking place, we sit down. I'm crying like worshiping, like, oh my God, what is going on right now? He tells me like, "Hey, what's your name?" I'm crying like, "Seb Sparks." So the whole audience like, oh, thinking that I'm super excited about meeting Steve Harvey, but I'm talking about this dream,
Yeah.
this dream.
They thought
that
you were
took place.
geeking out.
Yeah, I was geeking out. He picked me up, man, gave me a hug. It felt like 10, 15 minutes, but probably was like 7 seconds. Gave me a hug and told me, "Hey, man, I'm a mentor of you, and I'm going to be your mentor, and you're going to be my mentee." And ever since then, it's been a run, man. Life has
Rules of
changed
attraction.
drastically.
Wow, that's awesome.
Man, it's changed drastically, and that's not made up. And see, a lot of people don't know about this guy. This guy is extremely awesome. Like, I know everybody hear things in the news and things
Nah,
of that
he's got
nature.
a good radio show on every
that
morning.
guy
Yeah.
is
He's a workaholic.
man. He has like 14, 15 jobs. Trust me.
I
Yeah.
interviewed him when he had like the books that were made into the movie.
Yeah, the Talk Like a Man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he has he's shooting shows every day, man. He shoot at least 8 to 9 shows a day. People don't
God.
even understand like that
Somebody's
guy's
staying busy.
Yeah, that guy's a hawk.
And he
man.
doesn't pretend to be perfect. That's what I like.
No.
He'll talk about his past marriages and why things didn't work, and he's not ashamed of the past. And I think that's so important because your past makes you who you are today. So
He don't care about the cameras
Yeah.
either. Like the young lady was getting a car. We was in a car lot, and a man helped the young lady buy a car, took care of the insurance, everything. No cameras around, no nothing. Bought her a brand new car, gave her insurance. She asked to take a picture. He said, "No, this is not about me. You never know when God is going to do what he's going to do." And that was so like, dude, if I can be a brand like this, I can be a brand that can touch everybody. And that's what he's really trying to do. Honestly.
Talk about your documentary. I saw it today. It was really good.
So
I have plans for it.
The documentary, it's not about me. It has to have a face to it. So, but I created because, like you said, Tim, the entrepreneurship, you loving something as far as your passion, you coming from a place where you had to get it, and that's where I wrapped all things in one, from the appearance, because appearance changed the predisposed mindset. I took my sister's story and used that to where it giving me wings. My logo is wings with 2 L's, and that's what legacy living is about. And we created the documentary. Amanda Hartwick.
Horvath.
Yeah,
Yes.
Horvath. That is my girl. Since we connected, she's been tight. But the documentary, man, we're pushing for Netflix. We want to turn it into a series, a TV series where it helps young people and other bigger brands help each other. You know what I'm saying? And everybody talk. I hope you guys be able to see it. It's awesome. I mean, the way that it played out is crazy. I don't want to tell too much.
I would tell you if it was terrible.
I don't want to tell too much, but I can say that it will be a life-changing thing, and it will put a question mark in your mind of just where you at. Even if you're successful, it will still motivate you to a point where it's like, damn, I can be doing more.
Yeah.
Strong statement.
You know?
Last time around, give you a website.
Man, 2 websites, IamSamSparks.com and Legacy Living Barbershop, and you can reach me at all social media, I am Sam Sparks.
And where you heading next?
I am shooting to Atlanta, Vegas, and back to Chicago. We have a lot of things going on. Hookah Lounge. We have the barber school opening up. We have the grocery store opening up. And we're pushing with the barbershop right now. So it's been an awesome time. We got the book coming out also, which that is great. It's called Legacy Living as well. We just punching right now. It's been awesome.
Congratulations.
Gene,
thank
you
you,
got
man.
a bunch of things coming up. Talk about that.
Well, we have a few events lined up. The ones that are 100% in order are Toronto Film Festival.
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
I'm going to be there on the 8th at the Convention Center, W Hotel on the 16th, pre-Emmy Awards.
Mm-hmm.
American Music Awards in November. I don't have exact date. We also have a couple really big events that I will be able to talk about officially within 24 hours. I mean, I already, just because I got here, I received the confirmation, but until I sign it, I don't want to get into it. But it's with a major magazine. They're, what do you call it, Halloween celebration.
Ooh.
And already got Oscars planning for the next year. So we have our hands full, and a bunch of brands are lining up to, grab some tools, grab some content, and take themselves to the next level.
And website one more time.
CelebrityConnected.net.
Tim?
Tim O'Connor from Elyptol, www.elyptol.com. Forgot to mention we're launching at Vitamin Shop in the next 4 weeks.
Oh,
good.
dope.
So there's
And you're on Amazon too, right?
Congratulations.
We're on Amazon, 765 stores in Vitamin Shop, over 40 states by the end of the year. So if you want to buy it in a month's
We'll
time.
try to double up.
We're going to be at Expo East
You
in
guys
Baltimore
moving
in
over
2
there.
weeks.
Ah, good. Sea Shepherd, what you doing next?
SeaShepherd.org. I'm actually going to recommend a documentary for you that feels like it might be along the lines of what you just did. It's called Good Fortune, and it is the biography of John Paul DeJoria. He is most famous for John Paul Mitchell hair care products, and he's also the owner of Patron. In this documentary, he says a quote which reminded me of you when you said that encouraging companies to do good. He always says, "Success unshared is failure." And it sounds like, I mean, John Paul DeJory, we have a ship named after him, and he funds a lot of our campaigns, and he's been on campaign, and he believes that, I mean, he's part of this pledge of billionaires who have pledged to give away half their fortune before they die. There's 150 of them who have pledged to give away half their fortune.
Wow.
Like signed contract, everything, because he believes in giving back.
Wow.
That is his mantra. He's got different foundations. He won't test on animals. His Patron company in Mexico uses recycled glass. The water is irrigated back into the earth. So he is amazing, and he comes from terrible backgrounds. He grew up through the foster care system. He was part of the Hells Angels. He really, his teacher told him he was never going to amount to anything, and then he decided to prove everyone wrong.
That's what
and he gives back. He gives back. And he was on Shark Tank. He was a judge on Shark Tank for a while, and
Wow.
he invested in someone who was doing something good for the environment, and none of the other judges wanted to invest because they didn't see that as a sound business decision. And he was the only one who invested, because for him, investing in the future was a sound business decision. So,
And give Sea Shepherd's website.
seashepherd.org.
And where are you going next? Any place?
Where am I going next? Yes, I think I might be going to Amsterdam soon.
Oh.
Yeah, Sea Shepherd Global is headquartered there, and there's some interesting things that are unfolding, so I may make my way there before the end of the year.
Good. I want to thank everybody for being here from Australia, Santa Monica. Gene, always a pleasure to run into you. Sam coming in from Chicago,
I
and
appreciate
Zoriana, thank you for being here. This is Movie Reviews and More. We will see you next week. We got another great show coming up. And check into www.youtube.com/movie reviews and more. And we will see you next week. You see, when someone without a smile, please give them one of yours.
You're listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.